I want to spread joy and
I
um.
want to spread unicorns and rainbows instead of darkness and despair.
Well, I just want everything to have a positive vibe. I mean, you can critique movies and stuff like that, but I feel like
Mm.
ragging on someone isn't a good idea,
I mean,
especially
I
the most.
rag on Zack Snyder a lot. I don't think that we're gonna be crossing that line
That's true.
more often than we should.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is like the most powerful person on the planet as well.
Okay, and he tweets stupid shit, and I'm not gonna be upset about that.
No, you can be upset. Just let's just change topics.
Hello and welcome to the Nerdy Wordy, a show where Billy now has a joke.
Yeah. I love this joke. Okay. A lead can I can't even get through it. A lead conductor of an orchestra was recently hit by lightning, proving he was, after all, a good conductor. Da-dunch.
Jokes like
Oh,
that are told on this podcast. We
yeah.
are your hosts. I am Robert.
I'm Billy.
And today we have a lot to get to today. We got Loki episode 5 dropping on Wednesday, and we got to discuss a lot about this. I
Mhm.
got comic book pickups as usual, and Billy has maybe more jokes to tell. We don't know.
I could tell a joke. I will say really quick. Two things just happened when I told that joke. A, we lost all of our viewers, and B, I have to credit the joke. I didn't come up with it. It is by, oop, or I heard it from Andrew Tarvin, who wrote a book called How Humor Works, and it's in the book. So I just have to give him credit where credit's due because I love that joke.
That's right, people. He has a book about humor. That's how funny he is.
Yeah, yeah, right. Funny people need. Yeah.
Let's start off
Mute
with
myself.
the first word, Billy. So, who wants to go first on the first word? I forget what the order is at this point. Who's gone first?
That is a great question. Do you have your first word off like ready?
No, I don't really have anything for a first word
On this
unless
one?
you have a first word first.
Okay, I guess I'll go first then. Um, my first word for this episode was just I can't use wow again, but it wasn't like a oh my god, like a what's happening kind of
It
thing.
was an Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yeah, I was like when I saw the car, I was like, please be Mobius, please be Mobius, please be Mobius. Um, but I was more like, um, oh Loki. Like that whole thing where like the we'll get into it, but like that whole scene where all of them are fighting because they're all betraying each other, and like the
Mhm.
main Loki that like we have followed, is kind of just sitting there like, oh my god, like what's wrong with all of you? Like he
I'm the
gets it because he's
worst.
Loki, but yeah, exactly. He's like, because this Loki has grown so much because of his experience in the TVA and stuff. He's just like looking at the other ones like, well, my, this is what Thor had to put up with. um, so that's my first word.
My first word is that this was a really good episode. I'm excited to see what happens in the next episode, but there's a
Yes.
lot of things in this episode that I can't wait to kind of blow your mind about. Because I am going to be blowing your mind today, Billy, with all the stuff that I have. You
Are
said
you?
that you're going to blow my mind. I'm going to blow your mind even more.
I don't think I'll blow your mind at all. I'm pretty sure everything I have to say, you have already, you're ready to say. Plus, you're gonna blow my mind with other stuff that I didn't notice. So
You're right. You're
yeah,
absolutely.
let's dive into this. Blow my mind.
So guess what, Billy?
What?
I have notes on this
You have
episode as
notes?
well.
Can't do a fake surprise.
You're lucky you can't
Oh
see
my
it.
god, you have notes. Okay. Um, I'll try it again. Let me try it. I'll do a muffled version.
No, we're doing that one because that's pretty good.
Okay. Just cut out right after I'm like, oh my god, and then I'm just like, like complete
um,
surprise, and then just intrigue.
because
Okay,
we're
let's get.
filming, we're filming this concurrently with the Black Widow episode that we had just shot. So I decided that I needed to do notes on both, because this episode I think really deserved to have notes because there were so many details that I had to remember that I didn't want to forget.
Mhm.
Um,
For example, leading you
for
in.
example, first note I have: we are here in the void. That's where we're at right now. It's called the void. So
Mhm.
last episode that I talked about we were in this like limbo where like there's like there's this existence that you're just there, and that's basically what this place is. It's like a garbage heap where everything just goes and
Mm.
gets eaten by this thing called the Alliance. Now I thought when they first said it, I thought it was like a space Liath, but no, the name is Alliance, which is Alioth.
Oh,
Alliance.
interesting.
Yeah, so that's the name.
I'm with you where I thought it was two separate. And
Yeah.
not until right now did I realize it was one.
Blow your mind. Boom. Already.
Can we do a counter? That's number one.
How many times have I blown Billy's mind? Once.
Yeah, once right now, and then we'll try. I have to try to keep track. So that's one.
Yeah. So the void is the end of time that has not been written yet. And that the Alliance eats all that enters the void.
Mhm.
That's the first note. And that's actually where we start off the episode too.
It is.
So the next note I have, and I've noticed this has happened 3 times in the episode, that Renslayer is confusing.
Who's confusing? Oh,
Renslayer,
yes.
Judge Renslayer.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
And-
she's
and with-
confusing in the way that like she's so flip-flop about her motives.
Yeah. Like you can't really get a read on her.
hmm
Kind of. 'Cause I was surprised that Sylvie trusted her at all.
Yeah. And then like she got backstabbed when like all the agents came in, but then like Renslayer's coming into B-52 and she's like, what happened with you in the variant? And she's like, oh well, she just showed me everything, and like she was trying to convince her that like you're trying to know the truth as well, but then Renslayer was like, I'm still in my former position. And then like I also say that Miss Minutes is also suspicious as well, because like she's like going through the thing. She's like, oh, this is taking a long time, and then like she's asking her about like the beginning of time and everything, and I'm like, these two characters are very suspicious.
Yeah. Kind of like she's in on it or something.
Yeah, Miss Minutes is a sentient being that's like in on everything that's like happening.
Because they never actually talk about it. Loki asks if like she's like a recording or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They
Which
never
clearly
really
she's not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
agree with
happened like 3 times in the episode where I'm like, where is Renslayer like positioned? Is she like does she want to know what's happened with the timekeepers and who's behind it? Does she want to actually help Loki? Does she just want to be the judge and just be like the blockade to all these things? Like I was kind of confused about her motives, and I feel like there needs to be some clarity there.
Yeah. I think that might have been. Do you think that was done on purpose to, um, just for some reason? I can't really think of a reason to make
Kind of throw
why.
the audience off, I would say.
Maybe because if you think it's like a lot of time with TV shows, you're like, oh, don't trust them or trust them. Like, oh, you should have seen this coming. Like I predicted
Mhm.
that. But if they kind of make it like this, you now you have a hard time really seeing what's gonna happen next.
Yeah. And we'll probably see that either she goes on one end where she's like part of the villainy, or she may flip 180 and actually want to be part of like the revolution that happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole time though with that sequence, I was like, why doesn't Sylvie just send herself
Killer?
to? No. I was saying, why doesn't Sylvie just send herself to the void once
Well,
she
she
learns that
does.
Loki's okay? Well, yeah, I was like, why did she wait so long? Like, why did she? You know what I mean?
Well, she thought maybe she can get some information and extract some information from the judge.
Yeah. Then she grabbed one of those the pads,
The
right?
pruning. Oh no, the time. Yeah, the time pass.
Yeah. So she has one of those there.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
Oh yeah, because that's how they left later on in the episode.
Yeah, that's how Mobius left, was using the Timpan.
Mhm.
My next note is actually talking about the 4 different Lokis that we see.
Mhm.
Um,
At first.
the 4 original ones that we saw, like in the end credits scene of the last episode, and this episode, they're boastful Loki, what I call old man Loki, but it's actually called classic Loki in the credits.
Huh.
Kid Loki and Gator Loki.
Do
I have a favorite. Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite?
Yeah.
My favorite's kind of Loki. um, I don't know if I have a favorite. That's a good question. I didn't think about it.
I love Gator Loki. Gator Loki
He's definitely the
is my
most unique
favorite.
one. Why is he your favorite?
I think just like how, remember the sequence where like our regular Loki is like, why is there an alligator here? And it's like, he's a Loki. He's like, okay, I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah, after
And I'm like,
everything.
yeah, me too. I'm willing to accept that he's a Loki. It's just so
uh,
comical to me that like an alligator has like the crown and
yeah,
he's like able to talk, and I'm like, okay, I
yeah,
can accept it.
yeah, and they can understand him somehow.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I agree. That was funny.
But I do also like classic Loki because that's like comic accurate clothing and stuff. So
Yeah, I thought that was a nice. That Marvel has a nice way of introducing like the original attire in like a nice way. Like in
mhm.
Wanda when they did it for the Halloween and the trick or treating, they
Yep.
had like the spandex suit like that. Like
Mhm.
they did a good job of introducing a lot of the classic stuff.
So they go down to like this abandoned bowling alley as they traverse from the outside to underneath, and they basically just hide out there for all of existence, knowing that they can't escape and everything.
Hmm.
Um, and I liked how like boastful Loki's like, yeah, after I took down Iron Man and Captain America, I got my true purpose, all 6 Infinity Stones. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, it's almost funny because you use track that you're talking to a Loki, and we know that at least the mainstream Loki is very not very trustful, like not very honest, I should say. So
Yeah.
you kind of lose track of that.
Um, what did you think about the story about Kid Loki killing Thor?
So we never really get like details on that, which I
No.
thought was interesting. Um, I don't know because Loki, I guess that's just what I'm gonna call him now. Loki, like growing up, it seems like he didn't necessarily have like a great relationship with his brother, but they did seem like they got along. It didn't
Hmm.
seem like he ever wanted to like fight him growing up. At least not until like he was older and realized like he wasn't gonna get the throne or something. You
Hmm.
know, like it seemed like they were brothers in a way, like growing up, like they were actual brothers, which was
Hmm.
interesting. You also have to think that Thor would have been a kid as well,
Yeah.
probably, because at least in the mainstream, they're around the same age.
They look and they seem like they're around the same age.
Yeah, I thought that was it was definitely surprising.
I know a lot of people online are like freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god! Like, how are we not talking about like Kid Loki killed Thor?" Like, I guess there's like a little detail that like,
They
you know,
probably reset it.
yeah. I mean, Thor's probably still alive and like the timeline reset and everything, but
Mhm. But there's one thing that I have to bring up.
mhm.
Um, and I think because you didn't say it, you might not have noticed it, so maybe it's one thing. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Um,
Kind of
when
blow
they
my mind. Let's see if the counter goes up to 1.
when they were going down below ground, and like they did the transition where they're up, and then they just like went through the ground and then showed them in the bottom. They passed Thor's hammer. Thor's
Hmm.
hammer is one of the things in the ground.
Hmm.
Did you notice that? Dang it!
Yes.
Thought I had you.
Did you notice what was trying to grab at Thor's hammer?
I didn't. I was too busy marveling at the fact I noticed Thor's hammer.
Oh, that the thing that was trying to get at Thor's hammer was even better than Thor's hammer.
What was it?
Okay, so in the comics, there's a part of the Marvel comics where Thor gets turned into a frog.
Is there a frog Thor
This
in there?
was the frog Thor.
I didn't even notice. Oh my god.
He was in the jar trying to reach up to Mjolnir, but he couldn't reach it because he's in the jar.
Is he alive?
Yep, he was alive. He was just trying to jump up, trying to get at it. He's like, ah! He's like frustrated trying to get Mjolnir, which was like right there.
Poor Frog Thor. So even
He's
Thor.
called Throg.
Throg?
His name.
Oh, that's clever.
Yes.
So even Throg isn't exempt from being a variance, I guess.
Yes.
And by the way, that's number 2. The
Yeah.
second. Mind blown
Well,
too.
remember that in Thor Ragnarok, the play where Matt Damon played Loki,
Mhm.
there was a mention of like, I'm sorry I had turned you into a frog once. Like there was that reference, and then there's the reference where now we see actual Throg.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't
That's
believe
funny.
you didn't even see that. Like I saw it and I was like, is that a miniature version of Thor? But I was like, no. And someone had to explain to me, like, that's a frog. And I had to look closely. I'm like, yeah, that is a frog.
It did happen really quickly. I should have
Yeah.
gone back and watched it.
Cause like I remember like when they were going underground, I was like, okay, I see all these trays. I see all these trays. Oh look, there's Mjolnir. Oh my god, there's Thor trying to grab a Mjolnir. And I thought it was like a miniature version, but no, it's like the frog version. Because he's like jumping up and down, so I couldn't see like his form and everything.
Mm-hmm. Poor Thor. Poor Throg. Being trapped there. I hope he gets free.
Maybe.
I don't know. I hope so.
That's actually
Okay.
one of the things. So I have like uh a category in my notes of things I notice in the void. And that's one of the things that I noticed that like Throg with the Mjolnir. That's one of the things.
Interesting. That's funny.
So, all right, we already crossed that one off. Let's see if you would notice any of the other ones, which you probably haven't because you haven't mentioned a few of them.
I probably haven't.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Okay. Well, I know there's the Pizza Planet reference.
Oh my god, you thought the same thing that I did. So when we see Mobius, like we see that he comes in the car, and I had immediately thought of like that seems like Pizza Planet.
To be honest, I didn't notice it. I was told it.
Oh,
So I know.
I noticed it. I figured it out.
Apparently,
I'm original.
apparently, Pizza Planet is in a few other. It's in Agents of Shield, I guess, which I haven't seen.
Well, it's not canon, so
It's not canon. And then I guess it's also in another Marvel movie. I'm not sure which one.
interesting. Because we know that Pizza Planet is like in pretty much all of like the Pixar movies.
Yeah.
It's like one shared continuous universe and stuff.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah. But that was what I immediately thought with the pizza on the top. I was like, Pizza Planet.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. I'm not sure why they put that there, but I like it.
Yeah.
Like, where are the other ones? Because what are all these things I didn't notice?
Okay, so they're kind of like in order of like when the episode comes through, but I will mention a few. So you notice like the ship, like the old style ship that was there in like the beginning ish.
Yeah, like the army ship or something.
No. It was like the old like sailing ship.
With the crew still on it that appeared.
No, that's not a sailing ship.
Okay.
That's a regular ship. The ship, there was like a destroyed sailing ship. It was like in the foreground, and we were like going through, and that's where we saw like all the Lokis like walking.
I have to rewatch it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so what was it?
It's theorized that that ship is the Lost Santa Maria, the ship that Christopher Columbus had sailed that had been like destroyed on the coast of Haiti and was never found. That's been theorized to be that ship.
Interesting.
And right next to that ship was a UFO, like a classic like flying saucer that was like embedded in the ground. You remember that?
I probably saw it, but because it wasn't anything like of like Marvel significance in a sense, I probably just kind of like glossed over it.
So we're already at 4. Counter 4.
4.
This one's a good one that I noticed first and foremost when I first saw the episode. I was like, oh my god, they did that, and it was really cool. So before they went into like the hatch, when they were going to open up the hatch,
Mhm.
In the background, where all the Lokis were in the background, there was a helicopter. Do you remember that?
Are we talking about above ground?
Yeah, we're talking about above ground.
Maybe. Not off the
Okay,
top of my
well,
head. I can't picture it very well.
on the right side in the background, there's a helicopter, and it had the word Thanos on the side of it.
Oh, really?
That's a reference to comic books because it was this weird thing, and this is something I knew before Loki series ever happened. Thanos actually had a helicopter in the comics, and it was not in like canon. It was more like it was like a kid friendly kind of comic book. It was like Spidey super stories, where
Mhm.
like, it was like this weird story where Thanos was like having a helicopter and it had the word Thanos on it, kind of like prototypical, stereotypical kind of villainous kind of thing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Um, but I noticed that I was like, oh my god, the Thanos helicopter is there. That's so cool. And then like I just liked it because like it's a comic book reference that I like.
They're just throwing in a bunch of like all this great nerdy stuff.
Hmm.
Nerdy, I say, uh, with love.
So that's five. It's
That's
kind of
5.
fun. Let's see. So we are in the bowling alley, right?
Mhm.
On the left side, kind of behind classic Loki, when he's sitting down with the group of Lokis, there's a video game behind him. Do you notice that? Like it was like an arcade kind of game.
I did. I can't think of what it was, but I noticed the game. Was it of significance?
It's the significance because this game is called Polybius.
Okay.
Polybius.
Okay.
This actually kind of references our conspiracy theory episode a little bit.
Does it? That's funny. Go watch that one.
So this conspiracy theory is that like there was this game called Polybius back in the 1980s that had started to like theorize to mind control kids, and like they were like it was part of like a super secret like government plot to try and mind control kids and everything. It turned out that like the Polybius video game never actually existed. It was just based off of like urban legends and stuff. But the legend was that like this video game was around created by the government to try and control kids' minds, and it just like disappeared off the face of the planet because nobody could be able to find it. But it turned out it was just like a reference to like urban legend and like people made it up.
Mhm.
I thought it was really cool because like I knew about that and I was like, oh my god,
That's so
you're
funny.
a kid game.
That is so funny. Marvel's throwing all these things in there. This is great.
Oh, we're gonna get to some of the better stuff as we go through.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Um, so let's see. The next note I have is remember the Void spacecraft that like Judge Renslayer talked about?
Mhm.
Do you think that actually exists? Like there's an actual spacecraft to get to the Void?
It's so at first, yes, and
Hmm.
then I was like, okay, where's the plans? And they're like, oh, it's really deep, and I'm like, okay, no, it is. And then they kept going, and like it must be really deep. And then and I was like, no, it's not real. They're just on for time. And then
Yep.
like because they did it for so long, I was just like, maybe it is real. Maybe it is really deep.
Yeah.
So like at first, I was like, yes, no, not sure.
I don't think it's real because I feel like it would have been found easily because we found out about the Void very easily. So like, why is it that like the Void spacecraft is not easily accessible?
Yeah, most likely I
Uh,
would agree. Probably not.
and like I feel like John Translator is like this confusing party that I don't really understand if she's like trying to tell the truth or trying to figure stuff out or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
can't tell.
maybe we'll find out that it actually exists, but at this point I don't know because it seemed like it was just a way to stall time.
Mm. They don't need it as well
Nope.
anymore.
Just prune yourself. Take a 10
Yeah,
pen and just prune yourself.
basically.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on what's the classic Loki, the Richard E. Grant version of Loki, what his backstory was. How did you feel about his backstory? About like he got up to the point of Infinity War where he actually decided not to try and kill Thanos. He actually just projected himself so real that Thanos thought that it was him, and he just got covered up as being part of space debris, landed on a planet, remote planet, and just lived out his days there until one day he just felt like he missed his brother, so he decided to try and leave the planet, but then the TVA came up and took him away. What do you think about that?
The first thing I thought of is, um, well, he seems like a very, a much more, um, much more, how should I say it? Much more wise Loki,
Mhm.
kind of like the Loki. Um,
Loki Doki.
yeah, because he made it all the way up to like how much he grew as like a person, in the mainstream timeline or in the sacred timeline.
Mhm.
Because like up until Infinity War, or was it Infinity War that? Yes, it was. Up
Mhm.
until Infinity War, like he was a completely new Loki. Like he was friends with his brother. He was friends with Thor. He was like on the good side finally. So like he was
Mhm.
different. Um, and the first thing I thought of was thinking back to that scene. I was like, did Secret Timeline Loki project himself? Is he still really alive? And like he hit himself so well that the TVA doesn't even know that he was on a planet, and only when
Mhm.
he was gonna leave that planet did they be like, "Oh, there's a disturbance. Wait, he's not supposed to be there,"
Mhm.
kind of thing. Because like both scenarios work well or work the same, I guess. If he decides to secretly, or if he doesn't make it out of Infinity War, or he does, but like he secretly hides on somewhere, both have
Mhm.
like the same um results, right?
Mhm.
So the first thing I thought was, does this mean Sacred Timeline Loki is still alive and Thor can find him because the TVA probably won't make it? Or like that this whole thing probably won't make it. So does that mean like Thor, can he find his brother Loki and like get his brother back in the Sacred Timeline because they're friends?
Mhm.
So that's the
Well,
first
how
thing I
about
thought of.
this? I'll do you one better. How about that the Loki that we've been going through this whole series with, he
Loki.
and Sylvie destroys the TVA, and then he goes back to 2012, lives out all the things that he should have done, but then when he gets to Infinity War, he does the
Project
exact
himself.
same thing that Loki told him to do, or that he did, but then doesn't go on a remote planet, just stays alive because he knows he won't be able to get caught.
Ooh, I would like that. I would like that very much. I like the Thor Loki team up all
Hmm.
the time. And I'd miss it if it wasn't. I like that. That's good theory. I'm fond of
Yeah.
that theory.
That's what I think. Maybe that he maybe because like if the TVA does get destroyed, this Loki will have like a different path and will lead a different life and will like through this experience kind of go through things differently.
Do you think he would feel obligated to do things the same way that he knows that it should happen? Or do you think he would try to use, because like that gets kind of wishy-washy then, because things may
Yeah.
not play out the same if he
Well,
decides to
maybe
study.
that's how like the multiverse starts. It's like things are not going to go the same way it should be, and now all these branches are starting to like fold out.
Mm, yeah, I don't know.
I
It'd
don't
be
know.
interesting. It's kind of crazy. Sorry, it's kind of crazy to think that this is like the Loki that only made it to the first Avengers, and like this happens
Mhm.
right after it. It's kind of
Right.
crazy.
As he had even said, like, how long has it been? Days, months since New York? Like, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, do they sleep there? I don't know.
Sleep in the bowling alley?
And then no, in the TVA.
Oh yeah, they probably sleep there.
Well, then how does he not know how many days it's been?
Because he's just been going back and forth through time.
I guess. But what was proper time to throw in a physics term?
Right, exactly. Like, what is the timeline? What is time really?
uh, above our pay grade, my friend. um, we should do an episode on that. I think we've said that like 7 times.
Yep, we've said that several times. I've been going through the recordings and hearing that several times.
You're gonna have to hear it several more. Um,
let's
so
see.
what's next? What's the
So
next thing
my
you
next
noticed?
note is that remember when Sylvie made contact with the Alliath,
Yep.
and you saw like what she had seen.
Yeah. So what exactly did she see?
So I think she saw what they actually went through, like that portal that they're going through at the end of the episode, and we've seen that in the trailers as well, that big hunk of rock in space with that large ring around it, that ring of
Mhm.
light. I think that's where they're going, and they're going to see whoever is controlling the TVA and all of time and everything. That's the one who's going to be revealed at the end. But
Mhm.
she saw that because like the Alliance knows that that exists, and that's like the portal to go into there. So that's how she knew like that's where to go.
Yeah, interesting. I agree with that. That makes sense.
Who is behind it? I have no idea. We don't know. There's theories about who it could be, but at this point, we don't know who is in that lighthouse. At this point,
Do you think it's more than one person, or do you think it's like, do you think it's a group, or do you think it's solo?
I feel like it's solo.
Interesting. I was leaning on towards a group
Hmm.
because I still feel like the timekeepers are real.
You're still
Not,
holding on to that.
you know, I mean, I think it makes sense. Like a group of three makes a fake group of three based on themselves. I think that makes sense. Like, why would one person make a group? Why not just have one ruler? Why make the group?
To make it seem more powerful, I would say.
Maybe that makes sense. But
Because like if it's just one person, like say you kill one of the timekeepers, there's still two other timekeepers, and they could just reverse time and make the time like something like that. But then if you have one person, it's like one of those puppets. It's like, well, that was nothing. It's anticlimactic.
yeah, but I mean, if they're robots and they're not very mobile,
Mhm.
like you take out one of them, then you automatically know that the other ones are fake. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. If the three of them are like that immobile, then I feel like they don't really project, even though it's a group of three instead of just one. They don't
Mhm.
project. Um, I don't know. It's weird. I'm interested to see. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one though.
I think it is one. I think it's one person.
I
There's
think it's a
theories
group of
that it's
100.
like there's theories that it's like people like the man before nothing. I think it is. It's like one of the bigger gods of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it is, but I don't know. We'll have to find out.
We will, and I look forward to it.
Hmm. Um. So yeah, we already went through the Pizza Planet car. That's one that I referenced.
Pizza Planet.
Yep.
I want pizza now.
President Loki and his army. I like that scene so much.
Tell me your opinions on it, because I already kind of said about it at the beginning.
So President Loki, like I think it was funny how like Loki went up and he met all the group of Lokis and President Loki is right there.
Mhm.
And then they have this like coral down in the bottom. And like I like how again they're referencing the alligator and it's like, why is there an alligator in here? And they're like, he's a Loki.
Uh-huh.
And then I like how like the alligator Loki just like bites the hand off of the other Loki and they just all freak out.
Yeah, it was like a Captain Hook kind of moment.
Mhm. I'll tell you what, that like the music in this episode was like perfect. I enjoyed the music, especially like when Sylvie was running from the Alliance. That was a really good point
Mhm.
when there was good music. The music here were just like there was just so much weird like quarreling and battling between different Lokis was super cool too. So I think like the music also really helps make this a really good episode.
Yeah, Marvel's pretty good about that,
Hmm.
having good music stings. I really agree. I feel like the whole Loki series in general has just had really good like music in the background.
Hmm.
Um, what'd you think about like Loki's reaction to like the fight?
I think he's like, I am worse than I thought. Like,
Hmm.
I cannot believe how ridiculous I am.
Yeah, because it was like it was like this person betrayed him, and then it's like, no, you made a deal. You're betraying me. I
Yeah.
betrayed him because you said you give me power. And then he's like, oh, you should have seen this coming. And then everyone betrays him. And then it's like, you gotta be kidding. And then like Loki's like, his face is just like,
So many betrayals.
yeah, like he's just like, this is too much. Like we can't even like get along with ourselves. Like we're too busy
Hmm.
backstabbing. He's just,
Yeah.
he's definitely gonna be, if he makes it out of this, which I hope he does, he's definitely gonna be like a better Loki.
He's gonna be like, well, I cannot be that person again.
Yeah, like just too much, like where you can't even like I mean, think about that. Who's gonna make it out of that fight, right? Like
Well,
everyone, no one trusts anyone.
I feel like if Gator Loki survived, like if he wasn't the projection, I feel like Gator Loki would have survived.
You think so?
Hmm. I mean, I even say in my note, Gator Loki steals the show. The whole episode is just Gator Loki.
I I wonder what they'll do with it, or if they're just gonna leave it.
They'll probably just leave it, but like, I'm a fan of Gator Loki. I'm a fan
So
of Throg, and I'm a fan of Gator Loki.
I'm upset I didn't notice Throg. I'm gonna have to
You're
look up.
gonna see Throg as soon as you see Mjolnir. You're gonna see the jar in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. And the piece of paper just fell, so I can see myself, and that's not a sight I want to see. So I'm gonna put the piece of paper back up. Okay. Yeah.
I hoped it wasn't gonna be like too graphic when like for you when Gator Loki like ripped his hand off.
It was mildly.
Because I know you're not into the graphic stuff.
I'm not. Like it was still. I feel, in my opinion, because I haven't really seen many graphic things like that. In my opinion, it was graphic.
Mm. I
But
mean, you should be aware that like severed hands are an important thing. Like Star Wars, especially like
yeah,
getting Luke Skywalker's hand cut off. Several different hands get cut off in Star Wars. There's
yeah.
even people who count how many times a hand gets cut off.
That's funny. I didn't realize it happened that much.
It happens
That's
a
so
lot,
funny.
but
Um,
yeah.
really quick, I want to ask you a question. So Loki asks the others, the
Mhm.
group, if they've seen a female Loki. And all of
Mhm.
them say no, which is interesting.
Yeah. And
Um,
they'll say like, "Oh, that sounds horrible," and it's like, "It is."
I just thought that was interesting that of all like the weird ones that they've seen, they haven't seen a female one.
And that's what makes the difference, I think.
With her.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's why like the TVA is probably going to eventually be brought down, and how the TVA and whomever is running the show is going to be taken down because like female Loki exists, and that's why probably they wanted to chase after her for so long.
But what's interesting to me is if they just left her in that timeline, she wouldn't have been aware of the TVA or anything, and they would have been safe,
Yeah,
right? Which is interesting.
it's her own fault.
Exactly. There's like this line in Kung Fu Panda. I can't think of the exact quote, but it was what was it? I can't think of the character's name either. Which one? The turtle in Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, I don't remember.
Um, not Master Shifu. Uguay.
Oh,
So Uguay tells Shifu, he says something along the lines of a man or a person um, who sets out to prevent something from happening ends up causing it to happen or something
mhm,
along those lines. And that's when Shifu says, "Send a letter. He can't. This person can't escape." And then because he sends the letter, the feather of the goose that flies over it is what is used to pick the lock. So if he
mhm.
never sent the letter, then the person wouldn't have escaped. So it's kind of like that. That's what I.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's gonna be like the eventual downfall. Like eventually, like you're gonna do so many things to try and clip branches that eventually there's gonna be a
Bust.
rogue branch that's just gonna go off, and it's gonna be your ultimate demise.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So we get the plan that the regular Loki is gonna try and kill the Goliath because he thinks that's the way to try and get out of the void.
Mhm.
And we get to the scene where like as you had said, there's like this battleship that comes in and gets brought down, and then the Goliath just like kills them all. And then Loki's like, well, that's gonna be a little harder than I thought.
It's a little tad bit.
Mhm.
um,
So that battleship is actually in Point Battleship.
I was just gonna say that battleship meant something. What did
It
it mean?
did.
Enlighten me.
So that is the USS Eldridge. Okay. This is also another conspiracy theory from World War II, where there was a belief that there was a ship that the United States had created that they were able to entirely cloak it. There was some sort of technology that was able to cloak the ship.
Okay.
It's
And
called
this
the
is it.
Philadelphia experiment, this whole conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
and there's like different reports of like, yeah, there's this ship that we had that had technology that could be able to like make it invisible. And I think that's where like they're gonna reference like this ship, where um the ship was gonna be an alteration of like the timeline. If there was a cloaking device, I don't think there was. Maybe it was
Mhm.
just like this ship was supposed to never exist in the first place. Because we don't really know about the USS Eldridge at all as being a ship that can actually cloak. Like it's obviously a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
So, but it was really interesting is that kind of reference as well. Two different references to conspiracy theories that like mysterious things go missing and then it's like
Mhm.
in the void.
Yeah. I bet the writers are having so much fun. I bet like the writers are like, what conspiracy theories do you know? Throw them in.
Well, I mean, we just had a reference to like UFOs. We had like a reference to like Polybius and to the Eldridge, and that's part of the Philadelphia experiment. So like,
Mhm.
it's not out of the realm of possibility that like all the things that we think about, like our society thinks about as like conspiratorial,
Mhm.
just do exist, but just the TVA just wipes them out.
That's interesting. It's definitely funny and it's clever. I like it.
Mhm.
I enjoy it.
Um, Another couple of things that you may not have noticed in the episode, Ronan's ship is there.
Is it?
Hmm.
In which
It's
part?
like in the ground partially. You can kind of see where when the battleship comes in.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I really have to go back and rewatch this.
I've actually watched this episode twice, so that way I can get these things right.
I'm glad you did.
And another thing, I don't know if you noticed it, but I definitely noticed it the first time I watched it was that there's a helicarrier in the ground as well.
Oh, okay. So it was one. Because I thought there
Yeah,
was something
there
in the
was a
ground. I was like, it
helicarrier.
looked like one. What was that?
Yep, it was a helicarrier.
Okay. Good. I feel vindicated.
You are.
Ooh.
So I've blown your mind like what 7 times I think the counter is.
It's up there. I don't know. We'll have to check it on post
It's up there.
editing.
I've blown your mind so many times you just don't even know what the counter is.
Yeah, we can add that another one because now I don't know how many it's been. um,
So what did you think about when Sylvie and Loki and Mobius all met up and then like they're having like this discussion and Loki has her around with the blanket and like that whole intimate parts? What did you think about that?
I thought it was sweet.
Yeah.
Because you can definitely tell, especially when Loki first sees Sylvie drive up with Mobius.
Hmm.
Um, you can definitely see like he cares about her, which is nice.
Yeah.
Which is new for him.
He cares
And
about both Mobius and about Sylvie.
yeah, which is really nice. And like it was just really it was a good friendship moment. Like it was very wholesome in a way. You know?
Hmm.
What'd you think?
I thought it was really nice. I think it really got to show a little bit more of the Sylvie Loki kind of dynamic, and I didn't feel it was like the romantic way that they were pushing in earlier episodes. I feel like this is
No.
more of like we are here, we are existing, we're gonna try and get through this whole situation together, and I think that was the important thing that I think Loki wanted is that like you have someone and I have someone, and now we're not alone. We're not gonna be losers. We're not gonna be the people who are gonna be outcasts, like they say.
Exactly. Um when you said that you reminded me of I didn't send it to you on Instagram. I should have. I regretted it and I couldn't find it after. So someone asks Tom Hiddleston a question before the series started, and he was like, "Will we see a Loki love interest in this series?" And Tom Hiddleston's response was genius, and no one I'm sure got how genius his answer was until
Mhm.
now. his answer was, well, he's like, I feel that Loki has, in order to love someone else, you really have to love yourself, and Loki really needs to work on loving himself more. And um, I was like, that's genius, because like Sylvie is kind of his love interest, and it is himself in a way.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's genius. He came up with that on the spot.
Because like the audience doesn't know, and it wasn't really giving anything away. It's like this abstract answer that we kind of don't really understand until we actually see the series. So
Yeah, I feel like he must have been like on the inside, like that was a great answer, but you guys, no, I bet he like such a good answer that like I'm impressed. Like he wasn't like, you guys don't get how great that answer is. This is what happens in the show. This is why that answer is so clever.
see, that's the kind of answers that you should expect from actors and directors, not the oh, there's a special cameo that's gonna happen in the series and make us be all excited. Like that's the kind of answer that I want from somebody.
hmm
An
Something that you
obscure answer
don't.
that doesn't really get understood until
The
the
late.
end where we finally go like, oh, that's why they were talking about that.
Mhm. So good.
So we're now going to the plan where that Sylvie is gonna try and enchant uh Eliath.
Yes.
And Mobius is gonna go back to the TVA and burn it down. I don't know how he's gonna try and burn it down, but he's gonna try and burn it down.
Yeah, because we
And
don't see any more of him after.
yeah. And I did like the bond that they had, and they hugged it out, and it's like they're friends. And I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that they were together. So
But Sylvie is his favorite.
I
Mobius'
don't know.
favorite.
I thought maybe he was. I
I think he
feel
was
like he was
joking.
looking at him, but I don't know if like Loki thought of it as himself because he was like hugging him, but maybe like I don't know. I feel like both of them are also the favorite.
I agree. I think the way he did it, both could interpret it as him saying it to them, because he looked
Hmm.
at Sylvie when he said it, so she'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, "Okay, he's saying it to her." But like he kind of said it in like Loki's ear, so it could be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, he said it to him." But either way, I think he was like joking, like he was just like, "Hey, you're my favorite," you know, like. No, I made that sound creepy. No, it was like it was funny.
So we get to the part where Alliance is now trying to get after Loki because he's going to use it as a distraction. Sylvie's going to try and enchant Alliance so that way she can get to whomever is behind the TVA. But then we see that classic Loki comes in to save the day and brings the entirety of Asgard as a projection for Alliance to get distracted.
That was impressive.
Um, Sacrificing himself in the process, which I thought was kind of sad. It's like, well, but he had a good life, so I'm
Yeah,
okay with him, going that fashion. He had that glorious purpose that he fulfilled eventually.
yeah, it was a very noble thing to do.
Hmm. And then we find out that like Loki is able to enchant with Sylvie the Goliath, in which before they get eaten, opens up to this portal which goes to the lighthouse to this rock at wherever they're gonna be in the void, past the void, who knows? Um,
We'll
and
see.
that's where the episode basically ends, and that's no mid or end credit scenes, which I found to be super surprising for
Right?
this
I was so
entire show.
annoyed. Like I sat there and I'm like, I got it this time. I'm prepared.
Mhm.
Boom, and then
Nothing.
nothing.
um, and I'm like, so it must mean because I think in the last two series that we've had, both WandaVision and in Falcon and Winter Soldier, we've had end credit scenes or mid credit scenes in at least the last two or three episodes.
Hmm.
But we didn't get in this one, which
Yeah.
is the second to last episode. We got one the beforehand, but not this one, which leads me to believe that whatever's going to happen in the next episode cannot be revealed whatsoever. That's a whole different episode that needs to be on its own and it cannot be revealed to us. It makes us kind of wonder what's going to happen, I think. I think it was an intentional thing to do. I don't think it was like, oh, we have no content to give them that could do it. I think they intentionally do that so that way like we can anticipate what's going to happen for episode 6 and kind of lead up to whatever resolution is going to happen.
Yeah. I agree. I think it was definitely intentional. What exactly the intention was, like, yours sounds extremely plausible. I have to think about it more because I'm not quite sure.
Because I
But
feel like this episode is going to be huge because not only are we going to find out who's behind everything, but we're probably going to see the end of the TVA, the start of whatever multiverse of madness is going to happen.
mhm,
And I think that in itself is huge.
yeah,
It needs to be explored in just that episode. We cannot have anything go to like from one episode to the other because it's kind of a finality to where they're going to the portal and they're going to enter into it together. You know, we're not going to see what
yeah,
Mobius does in the TVA. That's going to be in the next episode. We're not going to see the portal, what happens afterwards. That's going to be just all for this next episode.
Do we know how long it's gonna be?
No, but I believe it should be longer than the other ones,
I would
considering the
suppose.
magnitude of what's going to happen.
Mhm. I'm just really worried that they're gonna leave it on like this huge cliffhanger.
I have heard things that this could be a multi-seasonal series.
I'd be so upset.
Well, I mean, just think of it. Like, if this does end as another into a cliffhanger towards another season, or maybe to a movie, like, I wouldn't be too upset about it because it's bringing us to something. You know, WandaVision kind of gave us a taste of it, but now we're gonna see what like the cause of everything is with the
Mm.
multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy with it in that sense. I agree. Like if it's a cliffhanger, it's just gonna be great storytelling wise and
Mhm.
anticipation wise. It's just gonna be eating at me though. It's gonna be like I gotta know what happens. I don't want to wait like a year or however long it is. You know?
It's gonna be less than you think because Multiverses Madness is gonna be, I believe, in February. So I think it's gonna be what is that like 8? No, but it can't do math. 7 months, I would say. Yeah, 7 months.
7 months. Yeah.
That's not
Still,
too bad. We
that's
had to wait 2 years for Black Widow. I feel like 7 months is pretty
I
good for us.
I I I'm worn out from waiting. I used what I had. See, I'm coughing.
Everything is
I'm
exerted this week.
yeah. Oh my god.
Guess what, Billy?
What?
I only have one comic book to show you this week.
Really? That's so funny because this whole like 5 minute sequence of waiting, like just
Yeah,
build into this one.
I know. It's just one, and luckily it's not for brevity's sake. It's because I just only got one.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But what's funny is you just missed, but you'll see it when you go back. I went to put my arm on the thing and it moved, and I went.
While I was gone.
So no. Right now, when you look down to pick up your comic book,
Oh, okay.
um,
I'll see it afterwards.
yeah, I can't wait to see it. If you decide to leave it in, because I think my face probably looked like, oh, I'm falling. Yeah. Okay. Let's not test their luck with the reception, and I want to see this.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just get into it then. This is Transformers #1.
Was not expecting that.
Yeah, this is the first appearance of the Transformers in comic book format. First appearance of the Autobots, Optimus Prime,
Is it the
etc.
first
First
one?
appearance of the Decepticons as well.
Wow. That's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. And it's a newsstand, so like this barcode is like a newsstand copy, meaning like there's two different things. There's like a direct edition where it's just directly onto shelves, and there's like a newsstand edition, which is more sought after because it's not like as taken care of because they were just on regular like, newsstands and like convenience stores and stuff. Whereas the
Mhm.
directs were like directly sold on like shelves and stuff.
Interesting. That's very cool. I was not
Mm-hmm.
expecting Transformers,
Yeah,
and it's a nice cover. It's a nice pic. The artwork is nice.
yeah, and it's a Marvel product as well. If
Is
you
it?
haven't noticed, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Did not realize that. That's pretty funny.
Yep. So pretty cool book that I got.
That is pretty cool. I like that. That was worth it.
That was worth the wait.
It was worth the wait. Yeah. Well, let me say, were you looking for ones like that, like a unique one like that, or did you just happen to see it in?
So I happened upon it. It was a week where I had a lot of stuff that I had to pay for, so I needed to get something that was not as expensive.
Mhm.
Um, and this book is actually in lower grade, lower condition because of this huge chunk missing.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, you don't notice it, which is great. It kind of works well with the cover. A
Mhm.
lot of spine takes on the side as well, so it's not in the greatest shape.
Mhm.
So I got it for pretty cheap, but
That's
like
good.
the higher end ones can be like expensive, and especially with like the collectability in the comic book market, it's really favoring a lot of people trying to get like stuff like that, where it's like it will increase in price because people have nostalgia about like Transformers or GI Joe or something, and that's like raising prices. So I know this book has been going up for a while, and luckily I was able to get it.
Nice. At a moderate cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Always want to make sure you prioritize your own budget first before you do the comic books.
Yes. Drop a knowledge bomb.
Exactly.
Mhm. That's a good tip for
So
anyone out there who wants to start comic book
yeah.
collecting or any collecting. Collecting.
hmm So what's your thing, Billy?
So I was gonna ask a physics question, but
Oh
uh,
God, please don't let it be another thing like last week.
I was gonna say I don't know if I have time to really go good one. I guess you could do like a cliffhanger or. Ooh, I got this idea. I'm gonna give a physics question. We will not answer it this week. We will answer it next week.
It'll be the
Or
introduction next week.
yeah, the introduction. Or you can go find us on our Instagram. Send like, or when we post this, I'll put like a thing on the story.
hmm
Um, I'll just say this to the camera so that way it makes sense. I'm gonna ask a physics question. When this is posted on YouTube, I'll put on the story. If you know the answer to our physics question or want to take a guess from our new episode, just like comment it here, and we'll, I guess, let you know if you're right or wrong, or we'll just let you know the next episode what the answer is.
hmm
Okay. So the physics question. Now I need a physics question.
You don't
um,
have one prepared.
I had one, but what was it? Yeah. Okay. So, the question is more a question based on an observation. If people have made it. So if you've ever heard like someone playing music loud and they drive past you, or like a police siren or something, if you listen to it when it's driving past, on the way towards you, sounds like it's higher pitch, and then when it's actually driving away from you, it sounds like its pitch drops. Sounds like the siren's changing uh, pitches throughout its motion that when it's passing you. That was a terrible way to say that. When it's driving past you, it sounds like the pitch is changing. That's how to
Yes.
say it. The question is why? Why does the pitch change? And yeah, so you can go if you want to. You can go take a guess. If you know the name of the effect, you could say the name of the effect. But if you want extra points, try and explain it to your best abilities. And me and Rob will cover it next time.
hmm
So. Oh, that's what it was. I wanted you to be able to edit in. You're not gonna. I don't think you better do it, or if you can, it'll be too much work. So this is just like I thought it'd be funny. And just like add in Sheldon going the
Yeah.
video. We will see you then, and it's very interesting effect. A lot of
Yes, it is.
consequences from it.
That Billy will talk about.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we both can talk about them, but
I'll
just
talk about it, but you'll talk about it more.
okay. We'll
It's your
see.
question.
Touche. Okay. Well, take care, everyone. I'm taking. I'm stealing the sign off. No, I'm not. You go
I'm the
ahead.
host, damn it.
This is not. No. Okay. You do the sign off because you'll do it better.
That's true. Um, well, that's the end of the episode, everybody. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. If you want to subscribe, which you should, please hit the subscription button as well. We have an Instagram page as well called the Nerdy Wordy Podcast. If you want to know about our content more, go and follow that, which you should, especially for the question that you just heard today.
Mhm.
And Until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy, everyone.
Let's go to the deep dive. And
Challenge
guess what,
accepted.
Billy?
Oh no, you froze. I don't know if it froze on the recording.
I have notes on this
Oh no.
episode too.
Wait, no, you're frozen.
Wait, maybe me. Hold on.
Oh, but you got notes. Okay, the notes popped up. Are you live? I can't tell.
Am I really frozen?
You're frozen holding up the piece of paper. Can you hear me? Oh no. Well, just in case Rob decides to put this
I'm
part in
sensible.
here, I am okay with the uncomfortable silence because I remember Rob put in one of the YouTube videos that I was not comfortable just sitting here waiting while you were frozen, and we have you back.
All right.
I am comfortable with the silence. We just hadn't started that podcast yet, so I was waiting for Rob.
I'm not comfortable with the silence because I just need to edit it out as much as possible.
And that's fair. That's why you do the editing, because you're better at that kind of stuff.